Good morning, friends. Here we are again. Hold on. It's better. Can't see so well. Oh, yeah. All right. Nice to see you. Yesterday, we started looking just at these different themes of practice, different ways of engaging both with meditation and with the day. And I thought today the theme we might use is significance and insignificance, sort of wide view and narrow view, what sometimes in the tradition is called panoramic awareness and fine attention, and the seeming paradox of that. Maybe you saw, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw, I think maybe last week, I posted something about a little cartoon of somebody having their photograph taken, like on the moon or something. You could see the earth in the distance. So there's some sense of just the vastness of the universe. And the person, as the photograph was being taken, they were saying to the person, "Oh, make sure you can see how insignificant I am." And I thought, on the one hand, there's just a kind of comic little sort of wry comment on selfie culture, as it were, or the kind of the narcissistic drive that's often there behind our the ways we take photographs of ourselves and places, etc., etc. And on the other hand, there's that interesting comment about the interplay, right, between significance and insignificance. On the other one hand, here we are surrounded by the whole vastness of the universe. This brief, flickering human life, right? It's just, here for like 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 years, if you're lucky. That's like, we're such a blip. So spatially, we're so nothing, these vast. There's 8 billion of us nearly on the planet. But this planet is one of countless billions. More galaxies in the universe than there are grains of sand on this planet. So just spatially, if we contemplate that, we come to this place of our own utter insignificance. And on the other hand, like the person in the photograph saying, make sure you can see my insignificance. In other words, that making oneself significant. So often in the Buddhist tradition and in Dharma teachings, we point to the way there's a kind of egoic contraction, right, where we make ourselves overly and unnecessarily and unhelpfully significant, with all the obsession, right, about I and me and my. What's going on with me? What do I want? What do I need? How do I feel? Where am I going? What am I doing? Am I enough? Am I getting enough? What do other people think of me? Oh my goodness. From the view of our cosmic insignificance, all of that personal reinforcing just seems nuts and pathological. Like, relax already. You're not that important that you need to worry about yourself all the time or think about yourself all the time. Like that sign in the monastery I used to live in said, relax. In 100 years, all new people. This is another way of pointing to that insignificance. So spatially, right? Oh, the vastness of the universe. We're insignificant. Temporally, right? And across time, in 100 years, all new people. Oh, we'll all be just gone. Dust You know, dust to dust. We come from dust. We go to dust, and you know, the vast majority of us will be, you know, even if remembered by family for 1 or 2 generations, we'll just soon be gone, gone, gone. Like, you know, how well do you remember your great grandparents? You know, how well does anyone in your family remember your great grandparents? Do you even know the names of your great or great great grandparents? Gone, gone. So that's the insignificance piece, right? And yet at the same time, we're conscious. I could say we are this particular, unique, extraordinary, sophisticated organism by which life, the cosmos, the whole vast, infinite and inconceivable cosmos, we are like the sense organ by which the vastness of the cosmos gets to see, gets to hear, gets to feel, gets to act, gets to think. So on the one hand, we let ourselves kind of just relax into or dissolve into the vastness and our own insignificance. What a relief! What a relief! To unburden yourself of the facsimile of personal significance. Right? That's what we're doing in meditation in many ways. Just softening, sensing, allowing the natural autonomic process of breathing to be felt, allowing the miracle of sensory life to happen, and relaxing the facsimile of personal significance. Right? The I, me, my obsessions. And on the other hand, as we do that, paradoxically, as we do that, we find being here is significant. Presence is significant. The intimacy and directness of contact with life is significant. Usually we look for significance in a kind of outer, you know, we think if we're wealthy, or if we're successful, or if we're famous, or if we're clever, or if we make some kind of impression, we need to make some kind of impressive impression upon the world to be significant. It's the same the way we describe meaning, you know, so, you know, that sort of very, very clumsy idea that we can find the meaning of life. What's the meaning of life? It's hilarious as well as clumsy, that idea. But it comes from the same thing. It's the idea that we can find meaning in something, in a particular idea, or a philosophy, or a religion, or an answer. Right? If I only understood something, then I'd understand the meaning of life. But the meaning of life isn't out there. Right? And yet, we give up looking for the meaning of life, give up trying to make my life meaningful, you know, significant. As we relax the facsimile of personal significance, we find that the way we engage with life moment by moment can be profoundly, deeply meaningful. Right? The way we pick something up, the way we walk, the way our footsteps touch the earth, right? The feeling of being here in this moment of cosmic life. Right? What do I mean by this moment of cosmic life? It's like actually coming into the fact, oh, here we are, here is, you know, ourself, rather than experiencing this as the facsimile of personal significance, experiencing this as the cosmos seeing itself, hearing itself, experiencing itself, exploring itself, evolving itself. It's not that we're trying to think about that, oh, I am the cosmos experiencing itself. No, the root is, firstly, we just relax the facsimile of, I keep saying that, kind of quite enjoying it as a phrase. Relax the facsimile of personal significance. Oh, in other words, we just keep giving away all the I, me, my thoughts. Just giving them away, not struggling with them, not fighting with them, not making them wrong, not imagining there shouldn't be any. No, just relaxing them, giving them away, giving them away. Letting our meditation be that. Relaxing into vastness. And there's a whole infinite universe here. Relaxing the tendency to make it all about me. And in doing so, finding out that, oh, there's something kind of profound and intimate and revealing and relieving about being here for this moment of cosmic life, being here for this breath, for this, for the everyday miracle of being alive and conscious in this sensory, cognitive, emotional, conscious organism. Wow. And that being here is significant, deeply significant, powerfully significant, illuminatingly significant, liberatingly significant. So there's that in meditation, and maybe I'll speak for a minute or two after the meditation, before we end the session together. I'll just speak a little bit about carrying that forward into our life, the way one can also just move around, on the one hand, with that reminder, relax, you're not so important. Relax. Don't try to be so significant. Relax all that, facsimile, all that self-obsession. And on the other hand, be here for it. Connect with what's happening. Open to the ordinary cosmic miracle of human experience. So, friends, please take your seat for meditation. Setting up and settling into your posture. Sort of just steady on the chair or the floor or whatever. Letting your legs and your buttocks really relax and sink into the ground. Sense of trusting the earth beneath you. So just sitting in a way that's dignified and upright. Sense of just a little space between your vertebrae. You're not stretching up and you're not collapsed. You're poised. Alert. Letting your chest be open. Helpful sometimes just to roll your shoulders back a little and feel that space that comes into the chest. Sense of open, receptive. And then also really relaxing, letting your belly soften, letting the muscles in your face relax. So that rather than trying to be here, rather than trying to be present or trying to meditate, you're rather just resting into being here, into a natural, effortless sense of being here. way of recognizing you are anyway already here, already awake, already conscious, already able to hear my voice and sense into bodily life and feel your breathing. So just sensing and settling and softening into your posture, into a natural awareness, and into the feel of breath. The expansion of the in-breath, the relaxation of the out-breath, and a brief still point between breaths. Just like this. I can particularly use the qualities of the breath for the theme that we were exploring today. Use the natural relaxation of the out-breath to just relax again and again and again the facsimile of personal significance, the thoughts about my experience, my life, my body, my thoughts. Just letting that keep dissolving, dropping away with each out-breath. Gone. 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 Each out breath, a relaxation, a dropping away of extraneous thought, a softening, a coming to peace. A release, each out breath, then a release of the habit of making ourselves and our experience significant. Each out breath, a kind of invitation into a welcoming space, a welcoming peace, a welcoming ease. a doorway into the vastness of insignificance, dissolving into a sense of totality, coming home to the whole of reality. And also just attending to the natural quality of the in-breath, which is expansive, energizing. And the sense that this is where this organism draws its life, receives. Now, it's like the universe is drawn into us or becomes us with each in-breath. Receiving the significance that life gives us with each in-breath and offering it back with each out-breath. Breathing then like a tide, arising as in-breath, passing as out-breath. And as we become more present, as we sense more deeply into breath, as we receive this tide of life, we both sense a little more fully the mysterious, potent significance of being here, of receiving this breath. And we also relax our attempts to be significant, our need to be somebody. This is the heart of meditation. When you notice you've gotten busy with thoughts, generating some unnecessary complexity, see if you can see the way there's that investment in personal significance, in self-obsession, in I, me and my. And just drop it. Just give it away. Just let it dissolve into the out-breath. There's no one you need to be. May we all allow ourselves to relax into a liberating sense of our own insignificance. And in doing so, may we all know the mysterious, miraculous, ungraspable, and yet obvious, profound significance of being here, of being conscious, of being this sensitive organism, this spark of genius. All right. Nice to sit together. There's a little time for questions. A couple of things I might say. One is just a very brief daily reminder that all of this is the engine of all of this is the engine of dharma, right? Mutual support, reciprocity, sense of supporting one another, caring for one another, showing up for one another. So Sangha Live does that by, creating this platform and scheduling teachers and managing all the tech and, so that we can all show up and sit together. And teachers do that, me this week, others other weeks, by showing up and offering teachings and reflections and meditation guidance, etc. And then you do that too, by your presence here and by the messages of support with each other, etc., etc., and by the financial support that is a completely, integral part of Sangha Life being able to function. So it's, sometimes we can think of, I'm making an offering as a nice thing to do. And it is a nice thing to do. But more than that, it's the actual crucial, it's like this reciprocity. We support you the best we can. We ask you to support us the best you can. And, it's like that it all works. So if you feel able to offer, moved to offer, just whatever way that appreciation for this opportunity that's here each day is there, whatever way that's alive for you, then I thank you in advance for the way you return that appreciation, so that we can keep on doing this. And George has just posted in the link there. All right. And I see there's some questions, but I thought I might mention, in the light of all I was saying earlier about significance and insignificance, there's in the Indian traditions, there's this root syllable, right? Om. And Om, on the one hand, is the most simple, right? The most insignificant, the smaller. You just open your mouth and is what comes out. And when you start to close your mouth, becomes ooh. And when your mouth closes completely, and those are the three parts of that. The most basic syllable, the most basic word, the original sound. Om is sometimes called the original sound. The original vibration. And yet Om is also totality. It's like the entire manifest universe. It's like the universe coming into being. Ooh is the expression of everything. Is the fading out. And I've always found the symbolism of that, and as well as the actual effect of sounding always found that very potent and evocative. So I offer that as one way of kind of carrying this reflection on significance and insignificance, on the vastness and fineness as well, sort of carrying that through the day with you. And we'll do some chanting one or other day this week. We'll do some chanting, and I'm not quite sure if we'll chant Aum or something else, but let's see. All right, Natalie says, would you say that the greater the sense of me and my and mine, the greater the suffering? Yes, Natalie, I definitely would. Yeah. The more personally we take our experience, the more we suffer over it. Yeah. So, of course, there's the inevitable suffering of pain, loss, grief, all kinds of misfortune that we might go through. Situational suffering, etc. Bodily suffering. Lots you can't do about that stuff. But the existential suffering, the emotional suffering, right, what's called the second arrow of suffering in the Dharma tradition, the more tightly you hold on to me and my, the more seriously you take yourself, the more fixated you are on how things ought to be for me and how I ought to be and what I want, and the more you suffer when things don't accord with your wishes. And if you look a little more subtly, the more you suffer even when they do accord with your wishes. Because as soon as things accord to your wishes, that feels very self-satisfying for a moment, but just incredibly quickly, it's not quite enough to do it, and now we need something else to accord with my wishes. And there we are on the hamster wheel of samsara, thinking we're getting somewhere, but actually just going round and round in the endless ego loop of I, me, and my. All right. Caroline says, feeling very dull and exhausted and mind was blank, not at all alert. Is it better to stay in meditation or decide to come back another time? I wouldn't quite put it as better or worse necessarily, Caroline, but certainly I think it's valuable to sit with and sit in and sit through a variety of different mind states. So not to become dependent on feeling all bright and clear and lovely. So dull, mind can be dull, blank, exhausted, right? So it's not so much what's happening, but how are you relating to it? So is there a way to just be gracious with that? Notice, and then I get frustrated with the dullness. Can I just soften the dullness? One can see that as, I shouldn't be dull. Is that a way of fixating, making, reinforcing the facsimile of personal significance? How I want my mind to be? Yes, it's like this. It's like this. And maybe I can compensate for the dullness. Open the eyes. Sit with my hands up, things that might bring a little energy, etc. Or maybe it feels, no, actually just the exhaustion is one. Just allow myself to sit here and see if I can just be gracious with welcoming to this state. And if you can't, if that doesn't feel helpful, then it might feel, no, actually, right now it's more helpful actually to lie down or to come back another time or whatever. Yeah. All right. Ruth says, I love that phrase, relax, in 100 years, all new people. Yeah. And when we are parents and teachers, these new people are now our guardianship. Yeah. Well, the next generation is in our guardianship, whether or not we're parents or teachers. Right? It's really about how we attune to that sense of guardianship. It might be more obvious to us as parents or teachers. But, if we're the living generation, then the world is in our guardianship, and all future generations are in our guardianship. Not just my children or my students or my, the ones that seem most obviously to depend on us. I get a flavour of how important this is and wondered if you could say a bit more. Yeah, I mean, we're a little impoverished in our current cultural situation and historical situation. We're very impoverished by our sense of our relationship with future generations and our relationship with past generations. in almost all traditional cultures, that sense of profound relationship, not just with those alive now, but a profound relationship with ancestry and a profound relationship with those to come, is, you know, we've lost that. And part of the way we've lost it is because the cultural direction that we've been traveling in for a while is towards greater and greater individualism, right? And another way of describing individualism is fixating on the facsimile of personal significance. You know? And so when we give more, we tend to live more individually rather than in extended families or in a kind of more tribal or integrated sense. You know, so when the sense of community is denuded in various ways and the sense of individualism is reinforced, one of the costs of that, among plenty of others, one of the costs of that is we lose touch with the significance of and the relationship to and the responsibility for future generations. And we also lose touch with the sense of gratitude towards and responsibility towards and offerings to and receiving the kind of the momentum of and the blessings of ancestry. And yeah, that's some of those thoughts about that. And I think we have to see in what ways we can enter more into that stream. I do think living in community helps. Having ritual sense of that helps. If you've ever traveled in more traditional cultures, you'll see homes that have a sort of ancestry shrine in that sense. And a lot of us have ambivalent relationships with our ancestry. We may feel we've got unhealed relationships with parents or grandparents, and sometimes there's more, understandably maybe, but there can be sometimes more resentment towards or hurt or anger towards our recent ancestry than there is kind of gratitude or respect or a sense of blessing. And that's, like I say, on the one hand, that's very understandable because it may have been that we suffered neglect or abuse or just clumsy or unattuned parenting. Ironically, I think that's part of the effect of more living in a more individualistic way, that we were parented just by predominantly by one or two people, or maybe three people. If parents separated and then got together with another parent, we had step parents. But that's also an impoverishment, right? Because then we fixate on the qualities of those one or two or three people. If we were living in a more communal sense, you get parented in a more communal way, and you fixate less on the faults of your particular parents. So I think it's also on us. The resentments we may carry may be completely understandable or even justifiable, but nevertheless, it's on us to do our own work to resolve and dissolve those resentments, so that we can actually feel like we're living in the stream, not just of our own parenting, but living in the stream of the inheritance, our human inheritance, right? Of these kind of countless ancestors. We are only here because of our ancestors. I mean, that's undeniable. And whatever blessings you are in your life, whatever skills you have, part of that is our genetic inheritance. Part of it is our cultural inheritance. Right? And part of it is just our human inheritance. And we sense that, not just human then, it's actually like the inheritance of the entire life of the universe, right? That has given rise to us being able to be here. That sense of kinship with all beings, solidarity with all beings, a deep belonging to all beings. And that's all beings with whom we share life, planet, etc. But it's all beings over time. All beings before, all beings after, all beings in all the realms and all the universes, in all the times. And that, right, that's part of this interplay of, countless beings. Why would I fixate so much on my own seeming personal significance? Just one of countless beings. And yet, wow, all those countless beings are in some way having their own life here, in what I'm seeing, in what I'm hearing. I'm kind of, my seeing is through the grace or the gift or the blessing of all previous generations. Wow. And what I'm doing, how I'm moving, how I'm shaping the world in however insignificant a way is part of the legacy we leave for all future generations. Yeah. So I just encourage you, like you say, Ruth, finding that yourself to be significant or important, you say. Just, I just unpacked that in one way, right? But just seeing how your own reflections can carry you a little more into that sense, right, of deepening, both deepening insignificance and of deepening significance. Yeah. All right. Eleanor says, I noticed that when you're chanting, your voice is different from your speaking voice. The sound seems much lower. Yeah. Much deeper. Yeah. Is this purposeful? Yes. And yes. And yes. 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 Just yes to all those elements, Eleanor. Yeah. It's like just letting the throat relax, letting the chest relax, letting the belly relax, letting the sound be not just a sound. It's not a personal expression in a way. It's like more. It's vibration. We could say more than it is sound, or primarily. It's like a kind of the resonance of a relaxed body. Om, om, om. Just try it. Om. The attention isn't on the sound. The attention is on the kind of the resonance of the sound in the whole body field. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I would say if you're interested in that, in the direction of that, don't worry so much about how it sounds when I'm doing it, but just explore it for yourself along exactly the lines that you mention, right? Explore it for yourself in the lines of chanting in a way where you're interested in a kind of a deeper, a resonance, a chanting coming from kind of deep in your body. Sense of all of that opening up. Yeah. And, we usually, when I do a week here, we usually at least one morning during the week, we'll do some chanting. And so we'll do that one morning this week. All right. Last one, probably. Veronique says, how to combine self-compassion, which I feel I lack and need to work on, and being insignificant. So, it's not that one's making oneself insignificant in a way. Of course, the language of that could sound like you're being self-rejecting. Oh, I'm nothing. Oh, I'm nobody. Oh, I'm insignificant. Right? Ironically, those kind of thoughts are absolutely part of the facsimile of personal significance. Because it's I'm nothing. I'm not important. Right? But when we say I'm nothing, I'm not important, the suggestion, if you look into that thought or that belief, is that I should be. I'm not significant, but others are. I'm not important, but others are. I'm nothing, but I should be something. That's where there's a kind of painful sense of because it's still so personal. One's taking oneself too seriously, So where the compassion comes in, it's like allowing yourself to relax. That's compassionate. Allowing yourself to be nothing, nobody, unimportant. In other words, at peace. It's the same thing. To be insignificant is to be at peace. So then, and that peace comes because one's deeply allowing, one is loving that insignificance. So if you feel you lack self-compassion because there's some harshness, right? There's no peace in the insignificance. There's blame, there's harshness, there's pressure, there's disappointment, some shade of one of those, because there's a sense in being insignificant, that somehow that is a deficient state, one that should be different. And it's not a deficient state, it's peace. Because there's no need to try to be somebody. So if you want to focus on that bit, focus on the quality of allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to be here, allowing things to soften, allowing for peace. All right, friends, thank you for your practice and your presence. If your question is still really alive for you and there wasn't a chance to ask it, please you can bring it back tomorrow, and I'll see you then.